I've heard a lot about, is the MCU back? And with the Thunderbolts, we're going to see. We're going to find out. Welcome back to Hollywood Impact. My name is Christian. This is Eric.
Hi.
If you haven't seen us, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about our stuff. But today we are talking about the Thunderbolts, and I was so excited to see this. Whenever it was first announced, I was like, oh, this is right up my alley.
Now, were you a little nervous about it after Brave New World?
I was.
Because I definitely was going into it.
I was, and I think part of it was because when I saw the trailer, it reminded me some of like Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But the director, I think his name is, was it Jake Schreier? Jake Schreier?
No idea who that guy is.
I don't know of anything else that he does off the top of my head, but I still really enjoyed this film.
Well, the trailers were really good too, and you know, I try not to have too many expectations going into anything Marvel anymore. Oh, yeah. So I kind of went into it like, okay, Brave New World's done. Let's give this a shot. I love this cast. Let's just see what happens. And yeah, I wasn't surprised that it was good at all.
No.
Not surprised, but I was just, I guess it was like a relief. Like, hey, yeah, like, this is good.
Yes.
They can do it again. You know what I mean?
Good Marvel movies, yay.
Good Marvel movies back. So.
No, what a cast in here.
Oh my
Florence
gosh.
Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell as John Walker.
U.S. agent.
Well, let me just say right now, I'm going to get this out of the way. I didn't know how I was going to say this, but this might be not a controversial opinion, but definitely a minority opinion. John Walker is becoming one of my favorite MCU characters.
I found myself really liking him in this movie. When's the last time we've seen him? Falcon Winter Soldier?
That was the only other time we saw him.
Is that the only other time? And I was kind of like, eh. And I liked Wyatt Russell. I thought he did a good job.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as the character of U.S. agent, or as Valentina calls him, JV,
Junior Varsity
Captain America.
They're like, he's not.
He's not. And he really, I started caring about this guy. I thought he was funny. I thought it was really well done in this film. I like him. Yeah. I like U.S. Agent.
And part of what made his character good in this film is what made almost every other character good in this film. And that is the theme of grief and loneliness and just so many dark themes. There's a lot of dark tone in this film. The gradient color for this entire film is darkly colored. And I was a little worried that would take away from like the atmosphere portion of it, like it's all just grays and blacks and stuff. But actually, it perfectly fits into what type of movie this is. And from the opening scene, it tells you exactly what this movie is about. And I love that. If you saw our initial reactions that I put on the gram, I said this is a story that has purpose. It's not just flashy effects with CGI, big epic fights, and or like a wacky and weak story. It is actually trying to say something, and I think that is it gets every credit in the world for that.
Yeah,
100%.
It does a really good job. And similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, I had no idea who those characters were in the comics. But I found myself caring about them a lot.
Yes.
Now, for the characters in this film, the ones that they put the effort in, I started caring about them. Yeah. Like U.S. Agent. I always liked Red Guardian. Always liked Yelena. But like, especially with U.S. Agent, there was some effort put into that character to show some of the backstory and what he's been going through since Falcon and Winter Soldier that I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really well done in that part.
I agree. I think Ghost kind of gets the backseat.
Not as bad as Taskmaster, but close. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a couple characters. Like no spoilers at all, but there's a couple characters that don't get nearly as much as the other ones do. But can we just talk for a second about how good David Harbour is?
Oh, he's the best.
He's so good. Like, I didn't imagine loving his character as much as I did. He was great in Black Widow. He was my favorite character in that film.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, he's one of my favorite characters here because some of his lines aren't even like hilarious, but the way that he delivers them is just comedy gold.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude knows how to act, and the dude has got charisma, I mean, just leaking out of his ears.
He's all in with this character, which I really love.
I love it.
And he just wants to be a part of something. He wants to be back in the action, you know. And it's like, you know, what kind of super serum did you get? You know, he wants to talk about the super serum. He's really good, and he's just the way his interactions with Yelena, you know, and like there was the scene with the two of them about, you know, he's talking about how Yelena's like the light when she comes into a room, and, you know, why she wanted to be the goalkeeper or the goalie for her soccer team. And it's just really heartwarming type stuff that really got to Yelena, and I think kind of helped her.
Agreed.
And
yeah,
David Harbour's the man. Well done.
There's so much in here. The movie's got so much heart.
Yes.
That is its biggest strength. I do want to go over a couple things that I didn't quite care for.
Okay.
I wish there was a little bit more interactions with the characters. Like, I know that they were working together against Valentina, and I think that was the majority reason why they were doing most of what they were doing. But near the end, I did feel like they all cared about each other in some capacity, but not to the effect of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where I felt like they were a family. I didn't quite feel that with this exactly. I felt pieces of it. It's two hours long.
Yeah.
They could have added in more scenes where they like go into each other's backstories a little bit more, actually talking amongst each other. And it's mostly just Yelena talking back and forth with each of the characters. That's what it's mostly, but I wish that some of the other characters got to talk more. Like Bucky, I love him. He's good in this film, but him and John should have had more scenes talking about like, hey, you're not Captain America, but you can be something else. You can be whatever it is that you want to be. Something like that could have made the movie even more deep and heartfelt, and they missed out on that opportunity, and I think that's one of the big things that kept it from being perfect.
Yeah, and they missed it, you know, with Ghost. She was one of the ones that did not get into the, I don't know what you call it, the shadow realm. Like when they made contact with Bob and they go to a different place, she was one of the ones that did not do that. I felt like if she did, then we'd be more invested with her like we did with U.S. Agent.
I agree. I think it's because maybe her background is already steeped in Ant-Man 2 because she is the main antagonist of that film.
Yeah.
But even still, yeah, I wish they would have gotten a little bit more. I think there could have been a little bit more action. I'm not saying that it needed to be. It didn't need some big CGI fight at the end. I think the way they solved the problem is actually really cool.
Yeah.
They were faced with a situation that is, of course, no spoilers. They were faced with a situation that was nearly impossible for them to overcome, at least by any means physical. And they found a way to overcome it. And I think that storytelling aspect is very strong. Yeah,
at first I questioned whether or not the inclusion of the Sentry/Void, should that have been the person for this group? Mm-hmm. But the more I thought about it and more I learned a little bit more about that character, mm-hmm. I don't know, I can't think of a better one that should have been in it instead of the Sentry.
Yep.
Like at first, you know, when we first see the Sentry and it's like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, Superman, sad Superman, or this is Homelander. And
this is unstable Superman.
Unstable Superman. And like, how are they going to overcome this adversary? But the way they did it, it made sense, and I did not. The more I thought of it, the more I did not have a problem with it being the Sentry. Like, it made sense at the end. Again, no spoilers, but it made sense how they did it.
They have a comic line. There's different characters. It's not all the same people. There are some of the same people. But they have a comic line. And when I got an app years ago to finally sit down and be like, I want to read some comics, that was the first one I picked up. And Sentry is one of the original characters. I like what they did because what matters more than the action and the flashy effects are the characters. And when the characters are the core of your story, that's a good story.
Yeah. And this movie does go into some different things like with depression and aloneness and stuff like that really fit in with Sentry/Void and makes sense with these characters and how, like, it deals with some fairly heavy stuff, really, when you think about it. But it's a movie with, and you may have said this earlier, but it is a movie with purpose, and not just the purpose of, okay, well, what's coming after this, whether it's Fantastic Four or whatever. It's not like that. It's just this movie has something to tell. You know what I mean? And that's just been, I think, lacking in some of the other previous projects that we've seen.
100%.
And it's just made it just so much more refreshing of a watch. It's like, okay, this movie does have, there's a reason for this movie.
Yeah.
And I was just so thankful for that.
Is the MCU back?
Well, I think, well, listen, so this movie, this is the last Phase 5, right? Mm-hmm. I think it is the start of the new era. We got a new era coming. And I think this was a good movie to kind of wrap up the Phase 5, mm-hmm. as also lead us into what's to come. And I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
I hope we see these characters again. I want to see Valentina Allegra de Fontaine again. Mm-hmm. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is so
awesome.
good.
She's so good.
She's one of those antagonists that it's like you're not supposed to like her because she's bad, but like, you know, you think about like a General Ross in Civil War. You know, she's like, I'm not supposed to like her, but I really like her because she's hilarious. She's got a lot of balls with what she does at the very end. She
does, yeah. 100%.
And I don't know, she's kind of unsung in this film.
No, she's absolutely a character, and she gets some backstory stuff too.
Yeah.
She actually is a character in this film. So props to the movie. I mean, I think I'm ready to go ahead and give it a score. I will start. I will give my score. I'm going to go with a solid 8. I think it is a solid...
Christian.
What?
That's what I was going to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
I thought we were going to be not getting along after our last video together, but hey, you still have some sense about you. Good score.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah,
First
it's
of
an
all,
8. This is an 8.
No, this is a... It's not a perfect film.
No.
There are issues about it. Some people don't like the ending. Some people think the ending is a little bit too abrupt, and I think I agree with the abruptness of it, but I like what happens. I think it's interesting. But a couple of things could have been fleshed out. It could have been longer.
Yeah.
It felt kind of short. There could have been a little bit more, but other than that, like, they tell a good story with good characters that I actually care about, and I want to see more of these characters. And John Walker is goated. I don't know why, but like after the movie, I walked out and I was like, okay, I've lost 13 pounds in the last month. I was like, if I keep going, I can cosplay as John Walker. At some point, I can cosplay as John Walker at my first ever. If I ever go to Comic-Con, I'm going as U.S. agent. Put that in right now. That is set in stone. So I'm not kidding. I know it sounds funny. I'm not kidding. So I love these characters, and I want more of these characters. And I think what I've heard is these characters will actually get more fleshed out stuff in Doomsday or other things.
Yeah, I really, the small things in this are small. The nitpicks, they truly are nitpicks, like trying to find something. I really enjoyed this movie, beginning to end. No, I was so happy.
Like, I would go see it again today. Full spoiler alert. First of all, any scene where like people are getting into the void, masterful. It all looks good.
Like the shadow, like...
Yes, the shadows and like seeing their past.
That was kind of cool.
It was so seamless. It's so seamless. They didn't do like a bunch of CGI over it. Even with the scenes where they're going through all the rooms, felt very practical. And I love that. It felt tangible. And one of my favorite scenes is actually in the beginning. When Yelena sees her backstory, like the one thing that really she regrets the most. And she sees Bob in there. Super cool. And then right after that, John gets a hold of him. And this is a detail that I didn't like process until like a few moments after I saw the scene. But he grabbed him because they have to get up out of the tunnel, right? And he goes into the void. He sees his kid. He's so broken. Because I think he wants to be there for his wife and kid, but he's so distraught because I think he just hates himself so much because of what
everybody's saying. Well, yeah, and just how everybody's saying he's a
jerk. And
he's a jerk,
and then he's not actually Captain America. I think he's so mean and abrasive with people now because he didn't start off that way. He's that way because he tries to do the right thing and it always ends up wrong, and people just beat him over the head for it. And I think the reason why he's so mean and aggressive and abrasive is because he's trying to eliminate the obstacles from the truth of his mind. He doesn't want to admit, like, yeah, I'm a loser, I suck, I'm a terrible person. I think he doesn't want to admit that, and he admits that with aggressiveness. I think it's just a facade. But he pulls him up and he goes into the void. And when he's back out of the void, he's standing at the edge of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Looking down as if he's getting ready to jump to his death. I think something about that was so powerful.
Well, I thought that, and I thought Yelena's too when she went back in. The Red Room was no joke, bro.
Oh my gosh. Freaky stuff.
I mean, she's got her friend, and she's lured her out into the woods. And she's a kid. Friend's a kid. And basically to get this kid killed. And that's part of the test, and she's able to do it. And that's where it's like, yeah, because Yelena spends most of her time, she's just going through the motions. She has no purpose. She's alone, and all she does is drink and think about all the bad things she's done. And she's done some bad things.
She has.
And to see that too was pretty like, oh wow, yeah, these people in the Red Room aren't messing around.
No, like every one of these people have done bad things, but probably no more than her, because a lot of them weren't children when they started their sprees and their awful acts. But Yelena was.
Yelena's a better Black Widow than ScarJo.
I agree. You're not going to get a disagreement from me. She has.
She's so good.
She has so much charisma, and
Yes.
I think Florence Pugh, just as an actress, what a great actress of our time right now. She's in so much stuff, and she just steals all the scenes that she's in. She's so good.
Well, everything she's done, whether it was Hawkeye or Black Widow, she stands out in, and she does it again in this film too.
Absolutely.
I hope that's what's the problem is she's so good that is she going to be committed to further Marvel projects, and I hope she is, because I want to see her full on Black Widow, as the new Avengers or whatever, and I hope she sticks around because she's great.
She's basically the leader. She's basically the number one character in this film, and I think
her and Bucky.
So. Yeah, I think
Bucky's the old vet. He's like the old veteran that's been around. He can lead, but she's the heart.
Yeah,
they all kind of pivot off of her. But I think Bucky is. She doesn't know how to use. Is it Bucky that's telling her like what to do or what to ask the computer in the end credits? I don't think she knows how to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, Tammy's like, we're supposed to do this. Yeah, we should probably do this. There's stuff like that where it's pretty clever. So you can see that they have not like a Robert Downey Jr. Captain America type thing, but it is kind of that way. It's like even in those you had two people who were the leaders, Iron Man and Captain America, and you have that here. And the Red Guardian with his Avengers Z is so funny. Let's talk about that post-credit scene. Let's talk about that post-credit scene.
The last one?
The last one. The non-jokey one.
Yeah, one thing I didn't like was when we jump ahead 14 months. I didn't like why did they have to Yelena looked good, but the other ones there was something weird looking about them to me. And this is a nitpick. Don't get me wrong.
I think I agree. Bucky actually looked a little bit more like his comic character, and I don't know if I quite liked it too much. It looks fine, but he's got the long kind of hair that kind of goes like this, and he's got more of the silver arm with the red thing. That's cool, but I think I liked his outfit and stuff from the rest of the movie a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's more ruggedy, ragged, congressman who's quit and gone back to being a superhero. Ghost looks kind of strange.
Yeah.
She looks not like herself. Then there's Bob. And then John's shield is still a taco.
He's still a taco, and he's wearing a beret now.
Just get him
because they were making fun of oh, do you like your hat?
Yes.
If you like it.
The beret is from the comics.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That. No, it's not bad looking. I think it's cool. It makes him look more distinguished. But his shield is still a taco, and I'm like, dude, just get him a new shield. Somebody give this man a shield.
But this is what I liked about Valentina, like what I was saying earlier. She's like, okay, these are your new Avengers.
That was so cool. As she transitions, okay, I just need extraction. Okay, just 1 second. They follow her through the tarp of a broken down thing, and then all of a sudden there's people and reporters, and she has a podium, and she's like, these are the new Avengers.
Yeah.
And they're like, Okay.
But yeah, you can imagine the backlash, and you saw some of it in some of the new stuff that was coming up, not My Avengers or whatever. So I'm really curious how, like, when we do get Sam Wilson and his people back, how I think that's going to be really funny.
Yeah,
I think it'll be really well done too.
I think it was interesting that Bucky said, like, yeah, I already talked to Sam and he didn't take it very well.
Yeah.
Like, something about that seemed off, but I'm excited for it because there's like a little bit of tension there. And then Florence Pugh goes up to her and says, "We own you now."
Yeah.
What a banger line. What a good line. What a good line for the right moment.
Yeah.
So cool. So much I like in this movie.
So what is next? Fantastic Four is the one right after this, right?
It'd be Fantastic Four and then Doomsday, as far as I know.
So, and that's kind of, we see that ship coming.
Yeah. I think things are happening a little bit too fast. In my opinion, I wish they would have, well, because of, from changing to Kang to Doctor Doom is quite a hefty deal. But I think that they should have gone one direction or the other. I don't mind that they have Doomsday now. I wish they would have recast Kang instead. But now it feels like, okay, they've kind of wasted their time with a few projects that are kind of centered around Kang. And they somehow have to twist the stories into somehow working for Doom's stuff. And, oh, by the way, the Thunderbolts, who team up for the very first time and get their butts handed to them in physical combat, all of a sudden have to deal with the Fantastic Four now. And leading into Doom. And Doom is right after that. That feels a little soon.
Yeah, but I think they got to start... If they're going to right this ship, they got to start getting going.
I think
that's part of what they're doing, because we got till July for Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. And then we'll get a lot of explanation why they're coming and set up for. It's exciting times, brother.
Exciting times. Is the MCU back? Yes and no. It's seems like they're heading in the right direction, and this movie is certainly an indicator. Phase 5 is kind of like a plane that had a lot of turbulence. Guardians 3 is fantastic. This movie is really good. So there are things in Phase 5 that are pretty good, and a lot of people hate it on Brave New World. I think it's fine.
It's fine.
I don't think it's great, but I think it's fine. I don't think it's that bad. So I think Phase 5 as a whole actually didn't end up being super bad. I thought it actually ended up being, like, probably more popular than Phase 4, I would say, other than Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Was probably one of the only exceptions for me. But otherwise, I think they're heading in the right direction.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm optimistic now. I'm very optimistic.
Yes. All right, well, that's about all we got.
Yep.
So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And, of course, we'll hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.